Okay, so let's construct our tote. This project that we're putting together, to refresh your memory, is the little tote that has a lid that opens up, and you've got your first compartment, and then the sides open up and you've got two more little compartments and a drawer at the front. So the way we're going to construct this is we're going to use the sticky glue that we talked about in the other video. And I like to use a bench hook when I work with sticky glue. Bench hook is basically a woodworking tool. It's shaped like this, and this piece here hooks onto the front of your bench. And these pieces allow you to situate your pieces as you're attaching them and give you a good, nice, sharp, right angle. So I've got all my tools out. I've got a craft knife in case I need to make some adjustments. I've got my sticky glue. I've got my first pieces to create the first box. I've got painter's tape to assist me. I like to use painter's tape to hold the pieces together while they dry. And I've got my trimmer in case I need to make adjustments. And that's it. So, and my bench hook. So let's get started. I'm going to pull up my chair. Now the first pieces we're going to use are A and B. So I've got 4 B's, and I've marked 2 of them as B2 and 2 as B1. And I've got my A piece, which is 6 by 6. So if you purchased a kit, these will all be pre-cut for you and marked. If you're going by the tutorial, then all the measurements are given to you in the cutting guide, and they have a lettering system, so each piece has its own letter. I don't like repeating letters for different sections of the project, because if everything falls on the floor, then if everything has its own letter, then you know exactly where it's going to go. So we're starting off with A and B, and this is a square, so it's 6 by 6, but these pieces, 2 will be 6 inches wide, which are the B2 pieces, and 2 will be, I trimmed off like a millimeter, I think. You can trim off up to like 1/8 of an inch, but you'll see they're not quite the same height as your base piece. So we always start off with the base piece on your flat surface, and I like to start with a long piece, and this is especially obvious if you're making a rectangle, which we will later. But I like to start off with a long piece that is the exact same width as my base piece. Okay, so I'm going to get my sticky glue, and I'm going to dunk my finger in there and get a nice little gob of glue, and then I basically just run my finger along one long edge of the first piece that I want to attach. So I had too much glue on my fingers. You don't want too much, but you want a nice bead, and if some of it seeps out, that's okay when you attach, because this glue dries pretty clear and you won't see much. The other thing that you'll need handy is a damp towel, and I may need to go get one in a minute. So I've applied my adhesive, and now I'm going to take that piece and I'm going to place it on top of the base piece, not on the side. I don't want to place it on the side, I want to place it on the top and flush to the back. So I basically just press it against my bench hook wall and hold it down for a few seconds. You can see some of the glue seeped out, so I'm just going to run my finger along that to smooth it out, and then that'll kind of give you a nice caulking almost look. Okay, and then we'll let that sit for a second, and then we can pull this out, And you'll see, because the sticky glue is fairly thick, your piece is already holding its shape. So I want to pull it out and make sure that my edge is nice and flush to the back. All right, then I'm going to rotate it to the second side. I don't want to work on this side. I want to attach the second piece that will attach to this wall and create a corner that will give it stability right away. Okay, so I'm going to press this up against that side and the back of the wall. And you can see I've got some glue buildup on the back of my wall, so I need to clean that off fairly soon. All right, so first I'm going to see that my piece fits. I don't want to apply adhesive until I know that my piece fits. So this side piece is going to go between the two. This is B1, so B1 is going to go between B2. Okay, like that. That's exaggerated, but obviously it's going to be flush to the back. I don't want B1 on the outside. Okay, so it's going to go inside. And there's a diagram in the tutorial that'll show you the placement, and that's the same rule for all the boxes. All walls go on top of the base, and you're going to have two that will be the same length as your base and two that fit inside those two pieces. All right, so I'm going to apply glue on the edges, the two short edges as well as one long edge. And the reason for that is because this glued up side is going to attach to this wall. So I'm going to place it down on top of my base and press it up against your first B2 wall. Press to the back to make sure it's flush, and then I just kind of maneuver until I can feel that those two are flush right there. All right, and now I'm going to get some painter's tape, and I'm going to support that corner. So when I pull this out, it'll retain its shape, and I'm going to make sure everything's flush, and I'm going to support that corner with some painter's tape. And now, because the glue is still wet, I can maneuver this piece if I need to in order to line it up. And again, I'm going to take another piece of painter's tape. This time I'm going to take a little longer piece, and I'm going to apply it this way just to support that flushed edge until it sets up. And this one, you can already see it's already starting to dry nicely. I could have put a piece of painter's tape on that one as well, but I wanted to get this wall on first. All right, so that's what we have so far. Then I'm going to rotate again, and you can see there's just a little bit of an edge, a little bit of a ledge for your second B2 piece to sit on top of. Okay, so it's going to attach on the glued up end that we just glued up, and it's going to sit on that little ledge on top of your base piece. Okay, and it's the same length as your base piece. So all I have to do is apply glue to the bottom of one long end of my B2, my second B2 piece, and then I'm going to use my bench hook, and I'm going to slide that in on top of my base, flush to the back, press it down, and pull it out so that I can make sure everything's flush. I'm going to press that out a little bit. I'm going to use some painter's tape. Ooh, see, I collapsed my wall there, so I just have to press with my thumb. I'm just going to press that up so that it's flush again. And then I'm going to make sure this is all nice and flush, and put another piece of painter's tape. I'm going really slow because I'm demonstrating everything, and I want to make sure that you get all the information you need. But when you start working on these, you're going to just fly. They're all assembled the same way, and you'll get very quick very soon. All right, so then B1, my last B1 wall is going to fit right inside. So I'm going to test it first to make sure that it fits without everything bowing out. And it fits nice and snug. Okay, I could take a little bit off because it is pressing a little bit. I can feel it, but I'm not going to worry about it because it's pretty good size. I don't want to mess with it. If I cut it too short, then I got to cut a whole new piece. All right, so we need adhesive on the short walls and along the bottom. And this wet glue stays fairly wet for a good amount of time. Gives you enough time for you to do what you need to do, and still give you wiggle room if you need to make adjustments. So I'm going to make sure that those are inside the walls, inside the two B2s, and I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to make sure everything's nice and flush. I'm going to get some more painter's tape. And this is the top compartment that we're working on as your first piece. This is the top compartment. All right, I'm going to make sure that's all flush. Put another piece of painter's tape. You can see that it's not perfectly flush. I'm not going to worry about that too much because once we construct everything, that'll all get hidden. But you want to do your best to get it as flush as possible, but also keep in mind that these are hand-cut pieces. They're not manufactured. All right, so there's our first top compartment box, and you can see there's a bit of glue that's seeped out. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to run my finger along to clean up a little bit. You just don't want real large globs. Okay, so that's the top compartment. And I'm going to stop this video before it gets too long, and we'll come back with another video for the next piece.